This podcast is made possible by you, the supporters of WPLN and WNXP, Nashville Public Radio.
This is the Nashvillager Podcast. It's June 2nd, 2026, and we're one day into a year-long project of looking back at how our community got to be the way it is. I'm Nina Cardona, and this is your daily digest of what's happening around Middle Tennessee with context and backstory from Nashville Public Radio, WPLN News. If you listened to yesterday's episode, I briefly announced the backstory, which is something we're doing over the next year at WPLN, a curated presentation of past installments from this podcast that dig into local history. Today, I thought I'd take just a moment to explain how it works and why we often use this news platform to talk about things from Tennessee's past. Basically, the way I see it, news and history are two chapters of the same book. And the more we understand about how things came to be the way they are, the more we can make sense of what's happening now. I like to compare this combination of history and news to watching a TV show that starts with a little previously on montage that catches you up or reminds you of past plot points that are going to be relevant for the newest episode. On a day-to-day basis, the main thing I consider when I choose a topic for this podcast is the news. Sometimes it's just a straight dive into history for its own sake, but usually I pick historic items that are particularly relevant to something that's going on now. With the backstory, we're able to come at things from the opposite side. Each month in social media and at WPLN.org, we'll share a curated collection of past episodes that deal with a historic theme. The first installment, which was released yesterday, is timed to coincide with Tennessee Statehood Day, and it's a little bit inward-focused, highlighting a few key moments informing Middle Tennessee to have the character it does now. We're specifically sharing episodes that deal with the founding of Nashville, the way Tennessee rejoined the United States after the Civil War, the establishment of Fort Campbell, and the silent march that led to an important civil rights victory. Next month, as the nation celebrates its 250th anniversary, the backstory will highlight moments when Tennessee influenced the United States as a whole. So each month will have a different theme. And one thing we talked about a little bit when putting this together was whether we should share the episodes in full or just the parts that tell the history. We're going with the full episodes, and that's really important to me personally. Like I said before, news and history are interrelated. News stories from the past are an important resource for understanding how things played out in their own time. And given that many of these podcast episodes dip into the past to give context to something that was happening in that moment, you might sometimes find it interesting to listen to the newscast portion for a reminder of just what that moment in time was like. You'll be seeing more about the backstory on WPLN's social media accounts, and you can find it anytime at WPLN.org/thebackstory. You've probably seen the videos online of people in Gatlinburg seeing bears at their cabins or in the middle of town. In just a few minutes, why that's happening so much more often now. That's coming up after the newscast.
After the ice storm, many people asked WPLN's Curious Nashville, couldn't we bury our power lines and prevent storm outages? Thing is, that would be expensive.
You're looking at $1 million to $2 million per mile.
In other words, billions for an entire city like Nashville. But that's the short answer. To learn more and about how Nashville Electric Service is trying some buried lines, search for the Curious Nashville podcast.
Here's the latest from WPLN News. Last week, the Metro Nashville Police Department began using drones to respond to emergency calls. It's a pilot program that MNPD is testing within 2 miles of the Madison precinct for the next month or so. But WPLN's Cynthia Abrams reports the program is getting significant community pushback.
The opposition to the program centers on the fact that it never went before the Metro Council. Here's Kelly Chien, a local community safety organizer.
At a minimum, this needs to come to council for a vote, and there needs to be a public hearing.
Nashville has a rule that requires surveillance technology to get explicit approval from the Metro Council. In recent years, the council has leaned against such technology. Mayor Freddie O'Connell said that he doesn't think that rule applies in this case.
It is a pilot. It's very limited, and two, Metro Legal's analysis so far has suggested that it has not triggered the surveillance-based provisions that would require a public hearing.
But Chen says this doesn't hold water.
We have had a lot of success pushing back on surveillance tech. They knew they would have a very hard time getting even a trial program through. And so this is their way of getting around that.
4 years ago, MNPD started using surveillance technology Fusus without council approval. Eventually, public pressure spurred the council to weigh in, and it did not approve. Cynthia Abrams, WPLN News.
Metro Nashville city-owned Safety Net Hospital has been a sensitive subject. That sensitivity continued last week. Council members asked Nashville General Hospital leadership why the patient count, also known as the census, is so low. Interim CEO Veronica Elders says there are a lot of headwinds. In recent years, she says all of the city money given to the hospital was used to fix the air conditioning. No patient rooms have been updated since 2016.
There's not a safety net hospital in a metropolitan city that has a census problem the way that we have. Somebody was talking to me about the census, and my response back to them was, I have out of order signs on the elevators. Healthcare is an environment of consumerism. And so, when people are saying to me about the census and is it up, we need help to get it up.
There are other challenges, too. The hospital CEO resigned amid scandal last year. It operates in partnership with Meharry Medical College, and there were tensions between the two organizations. They were so bad the two sides couldn't agree on a contract for years. Nashville General is housed in a building on the medical school's campus. That building is widely considered to be severely dated and causing problems for the hospital. The lease ends at the end of next year. There's no clear plan on whether that lease will get extended. Well, what do you want the city to spend money on? Now is the time to share. Nashville's Metro Council will hold a public budget hearing tonight, and that's where residents can weigh in on the mayor's $3.8 billion budget proposal. But that budget is not yet final. The council will be listening for what changes Nashvillians hope to see in it. Then council members can introduce alternative versions to the budget. They must agree on one by the end of the month, otherwise the mayor's proposal would take effect. The hearing will be downtown at the historic Metro Courthouse at 6:30 tonight. Coaches at Tennessee State University are raising concerns about the school's athletic director, Mickey Allen. The Tennessean reports 6 of them delivered a letter of no confidence to TSU's president last week. The story doesn't mention specific concerns, but offers a list of topic areas. They include inconsistent communication and lack of operational transparency, uneven allocation of resources and support among programs, and lack of clear departmental vision. Those who signed the letter include men's basketball coach Nolan Smith and football coach Reggie Barlow. President Dwayne Tucker declined to weigh in, but says the administration is taking the letter seriously. Top executives at the Tennessee Valley Authority won't be getting raises. The utility is also cutting about 15 jobs. The TVA is the country's largest public utility provider. President Donald Trump has been calling for shakeups. Trump wanted a $500,000 cap on salaries for the brass. TVA didn't quite do that, but the utility did freeze executive pay. And moving forward, it's reviewing pay scales. Its goal is to not pay more than median for similar roles. Throughout both of his terms, Trump has slammed TVA's CEO for taking multi-million-dollar compensation packages. Potential homebuyers may no longer have access to thousands of property listings in Nashville on Zillow. The real estate company is in dispute with RealTrax, a listing service in Nashville, over licensing agreements. Here's why. Zillow implemented new standards regarding what homes could appear on its websites. One of the changes is about private listings. It's often done for celebrities or prominent individuals who may not want everyone to know that their home is on the market. RealTrax originally planned to remove access to Zillow yesterday, but has extended that until next Monday to allow negotiations to continue.
You'll find more news anytime at WPLN.org.
Black bear encounters are on the rise in Tennessee, and climate change plays a big role, tampering with ecosystems in unexpected ways. For the Appalachia Mid-South Newsroom, WPLN's Caroline Eggers reports that wildlife managers are working in Gatlinburg to promote peaceful coexistence.
Along a steep, forested hillside in Gatlinburg, Tennessee wildlife biologist Janelle Musser is looking for black bears. Before long, a woman in the distance calls out excitedly.
So just be cautious.
It's a female bear, maybe about 200 pounds. And she has 2 cubs with her.
Look it up.
Musser clears an escape route for the bears, circling towards the home with the woman who first spotted them.
Hey, ma'am. Yeah? Just make sure you guys keep your car doors locked, okay? Yes.
Bears may have the best noses in the animal kingdom, and they're often smart or strong enough to investigate smells. They don't like humans, but Musser keeps a safe distance, occasionally taking a few steps back. The mama bear eats grass while the cubs practice climbing up trees. She says this is a healthy experience with bears.
Something so amazing as this is to see bears, to see a female with cubs and them doing what they're supposed to be doing.
As opposed to seeing bears go through trash, open up car doors, or worse. Bears used to cover all of Tennessee, but after centuries of hunting, mining, and logging, they retreated to the high terrain of the Appalachian Mountains. The state still allows hunters to kill hundreds of bears each year because, officials say, populations have grown significantly, estimated at 6,000 bears in the state. But according to Matt Drury of the Appalachian Trail Conservancy, their habitat is under threat.
A lot of these systems are on the ropes from past mismanagement. And in the face of climate change, especially forest types that are at higher elevations, they can't migrate any higher in the mountain if they're already on the top.
Climate impacts today are varied. Take extreme weather. 2 years ago, Hurricane Helene dumped record rainfall and destroyed hundreds of thousands of acres of forest. Then, non-native plants moved in, disrupting a web of animals. A lack of water is also an issue. In mid-May, the Great Smoky Mountains National Park was in severe drought. Former longtime park ranger Greg Grieco says drought can exacerbate a scarcity of natural food sources in the spring.
This time of year, bears' diets are pretty much limited to salad and grubs.
That can push bears to search for food around people. Brianna Abrams studies human-wildlife conflict globally. She says climate change affects ecosystems in many profound ways, often altering animal diets and movement.
It really doesn't matter where you are on the planet. All sorts of different kind of climate drivers are creating these increased conflicts.
Just like drought in the U.S., sea ice decline in the Arctic is forcing polar bears away from their natural prey of seals and towards people. And just last year in Japan, there was a weird event. Prolonged overcast conditions happened as beech trees were supposed to produce nuts that Asiatic black bears rely on.
Because of this atmospheric anomaly, that masting event never happened, and Japan saw a completely unprecedented rise in bear attacks and bear conflicts.
In turn, that creates danger for bears. Human-wildlife conflict is a leading cause of biodiversity loss,
especially for large mammals, and that is primarily through persecutory killings of animals as retaliation for creating conflict.
Abrams says more research is needed to identify proactive solutions. That's part of the job for Musser, the wildlife biologist with the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency. She's seen progress after the city of Gatlinburg bought bear-proof dumpsters and businesses added educational signs around town. But other solutions aren't as easy. Musser gets a call while driving in town that one of her bear traps caught an adolescent. She says a few bears had opened up a sliding door to an Airbnb cabin to get food.
If a person were to be inside that cabin, they could be seriously injured by those bears.
She pulls in where 2 people are on the porch, right next to the cage.
Hello. Have you guys seen any other ones milling about the trap? Nope, just this lone one.
Mason Eads is visiting from Ohio with Shanna Bicknell. After getting groceries one day, bears got into their car within minutes. Then, on
our second day here, we had 4 bears get into the cabin. They popped the lock on the sliding door.
Bicknell was a bit more awestruck. She said she's been to Gatlinburg many times and had never seen bears.
Before this trip, they almost kind of like felt like a myth because you don't really see them at the zoos, especially where we live, you don't ever see them.
While perhaps surreal, the situation is uncomfortable, especially for the trapped bear, who wasn't the target, so Musser releases them into the wild. But the other bears may face euthanization. That's why wildlife agents like Musser work to prevent pathways that escalate to this level, like bears getting into trash. She says many people are eager to help, with instruction. The ultimate goal is peaceful coexistence. Caroline Eggers, WPLN News.
Caroline will be on This is Nashville today to talk more about the issues with bears, but also she'll be joined by someone from the Appalachia Mid-South newsroom to talk about a larger series that this bear report was actually part of, looking at signal species across our region. We do this roundup of Nashville news every weekday, so subscribe in your favorite podcasting app to make sure you never miss an episode. And if you like this, you'll probably enjoy the Nashvillager newsletter too. You'll get perspective from more of my colleagues at Nashville Public Radio and links to the stories we're following. Sign up for those daily emails at WPLN.org/Nashvillager. Thanks so much for listening. Let's make this day a good one, and we'll catch back up tomorrow.